Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. We are here. We are ready to go for the playoff edition of Total Access. I'm Primetime000, and with me as always is Tiny Titan. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Ready to watch some of you guys battle it out in the playoffs here.
Yeah, I'm fired up, man. Let's go ahead. Topic number one. This has been talked about, I feel like, for weeks, and now it's starting to finally happen. Meats is making his playoff push. Meanwhile, Mike is making his meteoric fall to the ground. What's your thoughts on this? Let me just set the stage real quick. Meats needed to win out his last 4 or 5 games, maybe more than that. Mike just needed to win one of his last 4, and right now Mike is losing all of his games, and Meats is winning all his. What do you think?
Man, I feel like Mike has kind of went back to what his normal record is, and he's losing all these last games he needs to win. Just one, man. Just win one of these games. That way you can get through it. And Meats, of course, had a bad start to his season. And man, last week he won against Mike 51-7. He absolutely beat the crap out of him. So, like, Meats is trying to prove a point, I think. And Mike, I was looking at his stats. I think it was yesterday I brought it up in chat. He's first in passing, but he's 31st in rushing. The man's got to get a run game. And he'll argue to the death about why he's 31st in rushing or whatever, but you got to have some sort of run game. You got to be at least in the top 20, I feel like, to have any sort of, like, balance, you know? And I feel like that's Mike's downfall. He's got to get some rushing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because Meats is 31st in passing and 3rd in rushing. So both of these guys are kind of one-dimensional. And Meats' season ends against the Chicago Bears, which I think he's heavily favored in that game, whereas Mike plays the Mad Bomber. And something tells me Bomber's going to try winning this game. I know a lot of people say Bomber's going to rest his starters, yada, yada, yada. Bomber likes to play his starters no matter what the circumstance is. He likes getting those dev points, all that fun stuff. I expect Jacksonville to win this game, and I expect Meats to be in the playoffs. And the NFC better watch out. I know Meats isn't a Super Bowl favorite, but he can beat anybody, so that might get interesting.
Yeah, I feel like this would be the year, which is crazy, but because Meats is usually dominant during the regular season. But I feel like this would be the year if Meats gets in, he could really turn some heads, and he might make a run, man. Like I'm really rooting for him this year. I know he's in my division and everything, but I feel like Meats could really do some damage this year if he makes it into the playoffs.
Yeah. No. Now let's move on to topic 2 now. What team in the playoffs has the most pressure to perform or the most pressure to win and get further on in the playoffs?
All right, so the first 2 guys I wrote down right off the bat was Meats and Death Wish. Death Wish has been one that's everybody's kind of like, he's there, but he's doing good. But he kind of just, fizzles out towards the end. But if he can win a big game there in the first round, that would be awesome. But Future is the one I want to see to do some real damage in there. He's always good in the regular season, kind of like Meats, kind of just hangs around, does good, kind of just hides under the radar. But he's got to win a big game, man. He never wins his big game.
Yeah. Future's had some trouble winning big games. That was actually my pick, so I'm going to switch to my plan B pick in the AFC, which is Mad Bomber. Look, here's the deal. He's won a lot of regular season games, and he's kind of made a name for himself, knocking me out of the playoffs. But he hasn't won even the conference, let alone a Super Bowl. This team is stacked. Maybe the best defensive team in the league, ability-wise and talent-wise. They have great offense. Bomber is playing at the top of his game. He needs to make a Super Bowl appearance now. Otherwise, he's going to start getting that folding chair stigma on him. And in the NFC, I think you got to look at Faz. There's been a lot of talk about Faz being Mr. Soft, Flaccid Faz, all the fun stuff to go with that. But the deal is, Faz has missed the playoffs last year. There's a lot of drama with it. Now he's back. He's ready to go. Now he needs to win, and he needs to get that monkey off his back, I think.
Yeah, I didn't put Faz on here because I feel like Faz is always seem to be good enough to, make it to at least the championship game. I think Faz will be fine. Um, the NFC's rough though. Like, in the AFC, you got your three guys, Dan, Prime, and Bomber that you're like pretty much focused on, that you're pretty sure they're going to make it. In the NFC, it's harder to say. Like, you don't know who's going to make it. So I feel like Faz probably needs that win, but I wouldn't think any less of him if he didn't get further in the playoffs than he's already has before.
Yeah, and one thing to note, that number 2 seed, right now it's the Rams as we record this. It could be Washington football team. But right now they get to play Mike FML if the season ended today. If Meats gets in, that is no freaking soft game. Meats is going to be a tough out as a number 7 seed. So watch out who's ever the number 2 seed.
I agree there, because we got to, Meats may be a 7 seed, but Meats is not a real 7 seed. We know that. Meats is really good. He's just kind of had a rough season. But in the last 6 games, he's really showed that, how he really is. And I don't think anybody should take Meats lightly, and I don't think nobody that plays him is going to take him lightly.
Yep. So let's move on now. Third down. What, you've been in the playoffs before? Obviously, I've made it a time or two. What kind of goes through your mind heading into a playoff game? What's the atmosphere like, kind of before the game, during the game, all that stuff? Can you kind of walk me through that?
Well, it's been a while since I've been in the playoffs. Obviously, we all know this. But like, I think the last time I made it was last cycle, season 1. I think it was whenever I beat you in the regular season, and then I had you in the first round. I don't think if I was in the playoffs, I don't think you should take it any different. Just play your game just like it's going to be a regular season game. I know everybody says that. That's the cliche.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's a football game. Just play it. But in Madden, more than anything else, I feel like it's something where you shouldn't think more about it than anything else. Just play your game, play normal. I have another league I'm in. I made it to the divisional round, and the guy I played ended up beating me. But we played, basically, it was an exact replica of the 2 games we played this season. He was in my division. I feel like you just got to play it just like you play throughout the season. You just got to make sure you do your thing. Don't screw up. Don't throw picks, which is what I ended up doing, screwing up. But just play your game. Be you. Don't let the nerves get to you, and just do your thing.
Yeah, it's so hard to do. I think I've tried not to this season, but in the past I had gotten the habit of let me flip the switch come playoff time, and then I'll just kind of coast through the regular season. And what I found is that it's hard to flip that switch as you create bad habits and whatnot. So this year I kind of made a more pointed effort to not coast in any games and try to make the playoffs and just play the best I can every game. And this year I went 14-2. And obviously I think I'm going to get the number 1 seed. And this is probably the best I feel going into it, because like you said, I'm going to treat every game the same, whether I'm playing the guy with the worst record. Then I might put up 60 points on him, but I'm going to be playing the same exact way every time. So hopefully that's kind of my mentality going into the playoffs. Obviously, you get into the game, you feel the atmosphere, the chat's going a little more crazy. Guys are going to make their comments. You get a lot of backseat drivers, and that's what makes it fun. But for me, I get hyped up. I like the hype around it, and I like putting the pressure on the other guy quite a bit as well. So.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I don't think you should ever put more into it, because that's just going to hype your insides more than anything else, more than anybody else. It's just going to make you more nervous than anybody. Just like, for example, with you talking about coasting or whatever, me and Dump just played. Dump just threw he threw 5 picks and had a fumble when the game we just played. I feel like Dump was kind of just coasting to the end of the season. And of course I was 2-12 at that point. And I feel like Dump was just kind of riding it out to the end of the season. And that's going to hurt you later on, I think. I think you need to just keep it going, do your thing, play like you're the number 1. Like, just like Dump says all the time, he talks about being the best or whatever, and he's got to keep it going that way. He can't just sit around and wait and act like, hey, I'm just going to coast it out until the end of the season. You can't do that, man. You got to keep going. You got to keep that momentum. That way you can keep it going through the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's move on. Fourth down. Wild card teams. We're not gonna call the division winners. So seeds 1 through 4. Let's just throw them out. We're talking wild card teams. Seeds 5 through 7. Which wild card team has the best shot of winning the Simbardi?
All right, so in the AFC right now, just everything the way it's looking right now is the Raiders, the Jags, and the Chargers. In the NFC, we got the 49ers, Cowboys, and Panthers. The only ones I really see that can do anything is Dump with the 49ers and the Jags with Bomber. Maybe the Panthers. I don't know, man. Panthers has really thrown me off
Panthers
this
is
year.
actually number 4.
Is he 4 right now?
Yeah.
Who's the third seed right now? Meats, I guess.
It'd be Meats or Mike.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's just who I had right down here.
Mm-hmm.
But Bomber with the Jags, man. Of course, everybody knows the guys that's your fighting thing out in the division. But Dump being a wild card is kind of crazy. Nobody even thinks about him being a wild card, but it's just because of the way our division is. It's so tight. If Dump could just get through a game or two in the playoffs, man, he kills me. He does so good throughout the season, and then all of a sudden he'll lose a game in the playoffs, man. And he needs to get through. He does so well, and he just kind of, just lets it go in that one game in the playoffs. And then the Bomber, of course, you could see Bomber winning every game in the playoffs. I mean, like who do you see Bomber losing to? I don't see him losing to anybody.
Yeah, he can beat anybody. He's historically in the playoffs. The only guy who's given him fits is Dan. One person that's intriguing in the NFC who had a lot of hype and a lot of lore in his name is Grams. I think he's either 0-8 or 0-11 in his past, 10 or 11 playoff games. So it's not very pretty. Graham's playoff record, that is. Does he stand a chance to make a run at it?
I don't know, man. I don't remember who he played last night, but he got his doors blown off pretty much. But I feel like Graham's just kind of like he's right on that. Was it QP?
Yeah. No, I think it was Woods actually.
Was it Woods? Oh yeah. Okay. So anyway, Graham's just like, in my opinion, like that guy that's like right on that line where he's not quite elite like the rest of them, going to make the run in the playoffs, but he's a little bit better than everybody that's missing the playoffs. You know what I mean? So like I don't see Grams as making a run or anything like that. I love Grams. He's one of my favorite guys in the league. I talk to him all the time, but I just don't see him doing it.
Yeah. So Future's also a number 6 seed, and Grams is a number 6 seed. Who has a better shot at winning it all?
That's hard to say. Just because I know Grams, I would say the Raiders with Future. But who does Future play in the first round? Do you know?
Yeah,
who would it be?
It's looking like Pauly.
Okay, yeah, I could see Future winning that game, like for sure. I could see him winning that game, but I don't see him getting past that at all.
Yeah.
Like with the top 3, the Jags, Dan, and you, of course, Prime. I don't see Future getting past that at all. But Grams, I don't see him beating anybody in the NFC playoffs. I just don't.
Yeah. I agree. Honestly, I agree. Let's move on now to fourth down. Or no. We're on the extra point, believe it or not. Good. So this got brought up in chat. A little interesting topic. Bye weeks. What do you think about them in the playoffs? Overrated, underrated? No opinion.
I would say no opinion, probably. Basically because the guys are who they are. You know what I mean? Like from what Herm Edwards said, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
That's who they are. I mean, it doesn't matter if you sit around and wait 3 days for an advance or not. You're going to be who you are. Now, in real life in the NFL, yeah, it makes a difference. I think where the guys just screw around and hang out for 2 weeks and just wait until their game. But in Madden world, I don't think it makes a difference at all.
Really? So I think I disagree. I think that with this Madden game, about 4 Maddens ago, I probably would not have agreed with you. But I feel like they've narrowed the skill gap with how they've adjusted the game with users. user coverage, and just how people can run the ball and get like 7 yards of carry, and there's not a whole lot of game plan it takes to do that. And you don't need to be a skilled passer to win games. I mean, Meats is 31st in the league, and he's about to make the playoffs as a 31st in the league passer. So I would say that since the game can just allow some crazy things to happen because it's Madden, I would say it's good to have that security of the number one seed, and then you get to play the lowest seed as well, which might put you into the AFC Championship game without you even blinking, or NFC Championship game. You got that bye week, then you play a low seed. That's pretty nice, opposed to being a 7 seed. Like Meats is going to have to come in as number 7. He's probably going to have to play RD. Then he's going to have to follow that up. And then he's going to have to play the number 1 seed, which is QP. And then he's going to have to follow that up. And he's probably going to have to play Faz before he even gets to the Super Bowl to play myself, Bomber, Dan, or Paulie. I mean, that's a pretty wild. That'd be the toughest playoff run in SML history.
But, yeah, I could agree with that. But I just don't think it really matters in the big aspect of it, because you got to play them guys anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to wait a week or not, Meats, I don't think Meats cares who he plays. He's just going to play his game. So I don't think it matters if he's playing, if he gets to Super Bowl, he plays Dan, you, Bomber, whoever. And if he's playing in the NFC Championship, he don't care if he's playing Dump, Faz, or whoever. It doesn't matter to him. He's glad he's there. Yeah. All it takes is one game. It's one win. It's just like the NCAA tournament, man. Like, just win this game. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That was Tiny Titan's opinion. That was my opinion. Guys, let me know who you guys agree with in chat. Tiny, are you Team Tiny or are you Team Prime? Guys, that was SML Total Access. It is Easter weekend. I hope you guys have a good Easter weekend, everybody. I hope you be safe. And get fired up, though. Get fired up for SML playoffs. I'm Prime Time. He's Tiny. You guys have a good night.